What's going on, everybody? The Eerie Lord is here, and welcome back to another Walking Dead review vlog. This one is for episode 9 of season 11, entitled No Other Way. And this is my first review in a long time. I still, funny enough, have not uploaded the 7 and 8 reactions. Or, sorry, not reactions, reviews. I don't do the reactions anymore, but the reviews for 7 and 8 just been sitting on my computer, and I kind of like missed the boat on when to get those up, so I for now just skipped them just because it's not contemporary as much now. If any of you are interested in seeing them and seeing my thoughts, let me know and I will upload them. But I mean, it's been a couple months now since those episodes came out, so I kind of feel like the time for discussing them has long since passed. But that is not the case for this premiere for part 2 of the 3-part 20, or how many episodes is it? 24 episode run that we're on for the Walking Dead. So for this episode, it was, I was impressed with a couple of things. First of all, the pace was pretty relentless. It did kind of remind me of the premiere for season 6, because similar to that, the previous episode for the mid-season finale left off on a cliffhanger that was a little frustrating. I think I actually mentioned this in my episode 8 review, which has not been uploaded, as I mentioned. That I was getting a lot of vibes to season 6 when they were teasing No Way Out. The walkers had broken through the wall, and Rick and the Gress were putting the zombie guts on them. And I know things from the comics and know that this isn't going to be a happy ending, and then the episode just cuts. And you can still see my live reaction to that. The season 6 playthrough is still on my channel. Sorry, not playthrough. Yeah, it's not a video game. The season 6 playlist is on my channel, and you can view all of those live reactions that I did. Because I remember in the moment I wasn't too happy with that particular episode. And in similar fashion, the one from 8, I think the 8 for this one had more meat on the bone, and like I said, similar, episode 9 was kind of like the welcome back with a bang. For sure, the opening shot where the walkers get hit by those firework things and they're just exploding, like, it was really, like, it was kind of, I was thinking to myself, I was like, yep, The Walking Dead is back. Like, it was just like such a great, like, you just see the arrow lodge in the walker, then it just explodes into a shower of guts and bones. I was just like, this is a good good way to get us back into the swing of The Walking Dead. So interestingly, like, the strategy from episode 8 was to use the whisperer tactic that Negan had told Maggie and the rest about, and they used that to get the walkers to Meridian, and now they're inside the gates, and so now it's a lot of close quarters combat with the remaining Reaper members. Maggie has a brief skirmish with a guy before he gets blown up by one of the fireworks. And then there's the guy, I think his name's Carver, like one of the main douchebag Reapers, the one that doesn't really trust Daryl, the one that's pretty close with Leah. There's a really cool 3-on-1 fight with Elijah, Negan, and Maggie. And this guy, I mean, you could clearly tell his combat experience. And this is something else I was going to say for the episode, that the choreography was really impressive for this episode. There were just a lot of good fight scenes, close quarter encounters, because not only that, you have to remember that we still have the conflict in Alexandria with all those walkers that broke through during the storm. And you have a pretty intense scene with Gracie and Judith trying to survive, and the water is rushing into the basement, and then Aaron finds out and saves the day, and then Lydia has to save him. I'm kind of jumping over the events, but the action itself was just well done. Like, there was just a lot of different scenes to draw off of. Aaron entering the combat, he like jumps off the windowsill and does like a downward smash with his his big mace hand, and the zombie brain just like explodes. It was pretty epic. And it was just like a relentless action-packed episode, which is why when you get to the end of the episode, there's a brief moment of respite for all the characters, which is really, really nice. So back to the Meridian conflict. So you have these close quarter fights. It's just one side trying to outwit the other, one side trying to beat the other. It's a continuation of everything again from the previous episode, like I had said. And it gets to a point where they subdue Carver. There's a really fun scene where Negan, always the resourceful, finds like a bell and like he throws sand in Carver's face and then knocks him out with the bell. I was like, The Walking Dead always, like, they probably have like a list. They have like a chart in their like writer's room, like which weapons have we used and which haven't we, and like a bell was on the list that they hadn't, and so they have Negan use the bell against Carver, which was pretty cool. And then there's an exchange. Basically, there's no more conflict between Daryl and the Reapers if they let Carver go. However, there's only like a few Reapers left. Like, Leah comes out and there's 2 with her. And then there's obviously Carver. So there's really 4 total. Well, they think there's a 5th. A sniper up on the roof. That was like supposed to give them the upper hand in this exchange. Father Gabriel ends up getting rid of that guy. I'm not sure if that guy was supposed to be the priest, the encounter that Gabriel has in the church, or if it was somebody else. But regardless, I mean, you're only dealing with like a handful of these, hardened military guys that call themselves the Reapers. Only a few of them left. And again, like, it was always kind of unclear, like, what they really wanted. The stuff with Pope, some of those scenes back in the first half of season 11 were chilling and interesting to watch, but like, again, like, because the series is on its final season, there's an expediency here, and you really feel that towards the end of this episode, and I'll get to that in just a moment. Not that I don't want the series to pick up the pace, because I've criticized it in the past for dragging its feet and really kind of not getting to the meat of the story, but there are some things that made me realize, like, wow, like, they kind of are trying to get us really farther along here and not drag their feet, because the Commonwealth has had some scenes, yes, with the group, Eugene's group, that's been interacting with them for this period of time, but there's still, the crossover still hasn't happened, and now we're into episode 9. So there was probably a realization of that from the writing staff, because like, they spent the part 1 was really about the Reapers. You had scenes of the Commonwealth mixed in there as Eugene's group gets affiliated, but that wasn't the focus. You had a lot of other stuff going on back in Alexandria, them trying to survive and not starve, the community falling apart. Obviously the Reaper conflict, they were a secondary villain. And the thing is, like, they were always set up to be that. They were always these secondary villains that, like, had vague goals. So for me, Leah's connection made it interesting, and I had said this in previous reviews where I thought it was cool that, like, it adds a bit of personability to it, because Daryl had this long ago relationship with this person that he found in his endless quest to find Rick, and it's interesting that she comes back in almost like a villain form, but what is her justification for, they're plunderers in a sense. They're no different than the wolves of season 5 or 6, who just go from community to community killing and plundering and stealing and just imposing their will and saying that, well, we're the stronger force, so we're just gonna freaking do it. And that's the sense I got here. Like, there seemed to be this religious undertone. Like, Pope, like, for fuck's sake, he calls himself Pope, like the head of, like, you know, a church, or like it's a religious name. And then there's that priest that talks to Father Gabriel about God's will, and this, like, and this is one scene where I think things were rushed, because I was interested in knowing a little bit more, like, what is this guy's justification for saying that, like, God speaks to him? Like, he's saying that God speaks to him. He's touting himself as a holy man, and yet has no problem supporting a group that, as I just said, are just a bunch of marauders. And I was interested, like, what's the... Like, again, is there some deeper justification behind what they do? Is there a philosophy that drives them? But other than some conversations from Pope, we don't really get much of that. And because the show only has a set number of episodes, and the Commonwealth is the bigger storyline that's going to close out the series, like, you can't spend too much time going into this group, which is why I found it a bit suspicious that they were even introducing this group. And I was like, who are these guys in these creepy masks? You know, like, we're dealing with, like, a very advanced civilization of, you know, with, you know, a very strong army of soldiers, and there's still the whole CRM thing. Like, do the CRM and the Commonwealth know each other? You know, that's a question that Gimple has promised will be answered, but it's like overlapping world stuff, and knowing that we have, you know, like, the world beyond, like, we have other series that have exposed us to larger parts of the world. And if you're not connecting these things with the limited number of episodes that you have, it's just a very confusing way to go about the storytelling, you know? And so, like, you end up having to rush things. Like, the Reapers, yes, were interesting, but, like, Gabriel meets this priest, they have a bit of a chit-chat, and then Gabriel, you know, kills him. And again, like, yes, this was just, like, a bad guy helping out a bunch of marauders, but, like, well, was there something else to it? Was there something else to what they were trying to do? Because we've already done the marauders plundering and stealing and killing, which was the wolves, many seasons ago. So, you know, that's just my thoughts about how I think things are kind of being rushed a little bit, just because they're realizing that there's precious time in every episode from here on out. But, you know, the Reapers are dealt with. There's a very chilling scene where once they get the upper hand on the exchange, Leah's group runs away. Now, like, Leah wasn't going to spare any of them. When she thought she had the sniper support from the roof, it seemed like she was just going to take them out. And Maggie even said that. She's like, before you knew that you didn't have the upper hand, you were going to take us out. And so I actually, in that moment, kind of agreed with Maggie. I was like, yeah, like, she was never had the intention of sparing your life, so why the fuck should you give her the same courtesy? And then Maggie almost pulls a Negan right in front of Negan, and then kills the two people that are with Leah, and then shoots her in the arm. She gets away, Daryl finds her, and then because of their shared past, Daryl spares her, so I suppose there's the chance that she comes back. I mean, she's completely on her own. All of the Reapers are dead except for her, so not too sure what the continuation of her storyline is going to be. And also, Negan, very surprising that he leaves. I thought there would be some crossover with him in the Commonwealth, which does not happen in the comics, but I guess not, because Negan basically sees how crazy Maggie went killing those people, and is thinking to herself, like, how soon until that's me, you know? They've been in this very odd dance around each other ever since she came back, and had to work with each other through this Reaper thing. And now that the Reapers are dealt with, Negan's like, all right, in a sense, I've kind of like repaid my debt to you. So now that I've repaid the debt, I'm gonna leave, essentially. And there are scenes with him in the trailer, with him and other people. So we know that he comes back in some capacity. Maybe we'll get like a Negan alone episode, kind of similar to like the comics where he's just like on his own. It's very remixed at this point because everyone at this point is just willing to let him go. You know, they've all kind of like made their peace with him, and they're just like, okay, like he helped us, like we'll just let him go. Also, they have the Commonwealth on their doorstep, so they don't even have time to really deal with him. And so I'm not sure, like, now it's like, well, like, I thought Negan was just going to be a part of all of the things that were happening, and now he's just gone, so I don't know. I really don't know now what's going to happen with him, and I hope that, they incorporate him somehow, because you have to now dedicate a ton of time to the Commonwealth. And I really don't want that to take away from stuff they could do with Negan. Now, I know they're not just going to forget him. This isn't Kirkman in the comics who can just leave his character out of stuff and just make that executive decision. I know that, like, he's one of the stronger remaining characters left. So, again, and I've used this argument for keeping him in the series to begin with, but you kind of have to keep him related to the events of the show. Yeah, so, I mean, episode was good overall. I liked the ending, which was, like, the ending was very intriguing, like that 6-month time jump, and then Daryl is wearing a Commonwealth suit, which is just, Daryl's not usually one who follows the crowd. He's a lone wolf on his own kind of guy. So to see him with an army of those soldiers is very interesting. Not something I would have expected at all. So I'm intrigued. And then Maggie's back at the hilltop. It doesn't look like she's going to be a part of that whole thing. So I'm wondering if, like, Maggie's darkened nature, like the Reaper conflict, like, kind of changed her, and now there's this there's going to be a clashing of that with the Commonwealth. So I guess that's what they're setting up. There's almost like a Daryl Maggie kind of conflict, and the Commonwealth is going to be looped into that. So I'm interested to see how that connects. Again, the Commonwealth arc was very weak in the comics. It was just Rick talking endless fucking politics with Pamela Milton, and you had a few rebellious things, and then one giant speech from Rick diffuses the whole fucking thing, and it's a very odd string of events, I think, as Kirkman just slowly built towards ending the fucking thing. And I think he didn't know how to end it properly, and then just went for shock value and ended it. So I hope that there's a clearer direction here, and I said this before when talking about the end of the show and the Commonwealth in general. But yeah, I mean, it's intriguing. It's a nice way to get you intrigued for the rest of the season, seeing that, like, 6-month time jump, seeing things in a different place. I'm excited for the episodes to come. I'm going to give this one a 9.5 on its own, but I just feel like they could use an additional season. Having a season 12 could give you more time to deal with the Reapers, and you could have given Pope a few more episodes, and not killed him off as soon as you did, or, expand the Commonwealth more. I know that the extra 8 kind of serve as a 12th season, but, maybe if you had, like, a full, season 12, we could have really rounded things out. And also, again, you need to connect the CRM stuff with Rick. Like, the more you've refused to do that, the more I think that you're putting yourself in a deeper and deeper hole. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Again, it was a fun episode. All of my feelings are just preparing for the inevitable end of the show this year. And so I'm just kind of trying to get all of that out into thin air as that comes closer and closer. So, yeah, anyway, let me know what you guys think. Good episode overall. Lots of cool action, cool choreography, relentless pace, and it was fun. So, thank you guys for watching, and I'll try to stay more consistent with these videos as we go further into the season, and it's my last opportunity to do these. I only got a few left, part 2, and then part 3 in the fall, or whenever the heck it's airing later this year, so, and that'll pretty much be it. So, I want to enjoy the ride while it's here, and maybe do a few more co-op videos with my friend over the one who runs the Walking Dead Twitter account as my main kind of collaborator. Yeah, that's what's on the docket. So thank you guys for watching, and I will catch up with you later. See ya.